Hey guys, Ben Paint here, and today we're back once again for another video, and this time we are taking part in the 7th round of the Club 73 Weekend Series, and we are at Red Lodge for this one. But we're not doing the normal layout, we are in fact doing the reverse layout, which gives us a little bit of an advantage due to not as many people doing the layout compared to if we just did the normal layout. So obviously, as normal, the format for this one, we have a 5-minute race followed by 5-minute practice, followed by a 30-minute race, and we are in fact starting in the A final once again, like our last round at Daytona Tamworth, and we're lining up in 3rd position, which I'm really happy with. We're going to see if we can get a good result. Now, quick disclaimer, the track doesn't actually allow head cams, so I'm going to try and use a chest mount for this one. That's what I've got with me, so if I can use that, I'll be really happy. But we'll just see how it goes, and hopefully I can grab some good footage, as I've heard this is a really good track to get on and race at. Now, it was raining a little bit last night, so some areas of the track are a little bit damp at the time of recording. However, I think with the day being as sunny as it is, I'm sure it's going to dry out towards the end of the day. So if you guys do enjoy this video, could you please leave a like on it down below, and if you are new to the channel, or if you haven't already, can you also hit the subscribe button, as it really does help me out. But in the meantime, I'm going to jump into some footage. Hopefully I've got some, and we'll see how we get on today. Now, unfortunately guys, as you can see, there was in fact no onboard footage, but courtesy of Alfie Richardson or Reverb Racing, I'll leave his channel link down in the description, we have been able to capture some external footage, which I hope sort of does a little bit of justice for what you are going to see. Obviously no lap timers on this one, as I didn't really get any lap times, and it would have been quite difficult to gauge based on the angle we're sort of looking at. So you can see straight away off the line, we've had a great start, held the inside line, and we're up into 2nd position, and we're keeping that momentum throughout the first lap, and you can see straight away we're up into 1st place, which I was really happy with, and I just knew if I could keep this solid pace up, then we'd be on for a mega result. Obviously starting in 3rd, as I've mentioned at the beginning of the video, so we had a great opportunity to get a bag load of points in this race. So we got into 1st quite quickly, and I understood through practice that this was a track where drafting or being in the slipstream of the other drivers was going to be absolutely paramount. So the key here was just to try and break away from the other drivers. You could see there's a huge train, no one's really broken off into groups yet, and I just wanted to try and work with a few of the drivers behind me to just try and break away and sort of secure that podium as early as possible, as I had seen from some of the other races earlier in the day. However, you can see there are 3 of us at the front, and we are looking just to break away a little bit. I'm driving a little bit defensively, obviously not taking the full racing line, as I don't fully trust that the drivers behind me are going to stick behind me and just work together. So you can see Harrison Kirkham's already gone for a move up the inside of the driver behind me, and then he's done the same to me on the same lap. So we're down in 2nd, which I wasn't too upset about. Obviously, as I mentioned, being in the tow of another driver is where you wanted to be, and you can see him here really clearly sort of saying, look, let's push together, push me in the back, and we will try and escape some of the other guys. So you can see straight away bumping right into the back of him, giving him a little bit of a bump draft to try and get away from the other drivers. I didn't want to get caught in the gaggle that was behind us. Obviously, we're in the A final, it's super competitive, and you never know what's going to happen. So the sooner we could have broken away from the rest of the pack, the better our result was going to be. So you can see we're sat in 2nd here, still pushing Harrison around the track, who I will mention already had an absolutely fantastic drive in this one. He drove absolutely superbly out in the lead of the race for pretty much the whole race, and unfortunately got overtaken on the last couple of laps to finish in 2nd in this one. But this isn't a race about him, it's a race about me, so we're going to jump back in, and as you can see, we're sitting pretty in 2nd position here, being quite comfortable, just staying in the train. But as I mentioned, from the draft, or how strong it is, no one's really breaking away, and we're all just sort of stuck together in a bit of a, well, a large train. As you can see, almost everyone is nose to tail with each other. There's sort of 2 groups that have begun to form or take shape, so the sooner we could sort of minimize the amount of people in the race by breaking away, the better it was going to be. Now, we're still feeling quietly confident at this point that we can secure a really good position. Obviously, we are still in second place. We've got our head down, and just by taking sort of some narrower lines into the corners, it's ensuring that we're not losing too much time to Harrison up ahead. He has created a little bit of a gap, and I will say this is due to the little bit of bumping going on through the slower sections of the track. Everyone was giving as good as they got, and that was just sort of compromising my run coming out onto the main straight. You can see here, driver up my inside, he sort of secured the move, so I just thought I'd try and hang it around the outside and not lose too much time, try and slot back into third place. Wasn't too angry with that. Obviously, as I said, we were in a group filled with some, just like last race, the best drivers in the championship. So if we could hold our own here, then we would be in a very good place for the championship points or the championship standings. But as we come around on this lap, this is where the race just begins to unravel. The driver behind me there just goes for a really big lunge down the inside, sort of puts me on the gravel, and as I've got on the gravel, in order to avoid the large tyre barrier that was situated on the inside of that corner, I had to swerve back onto the track. It resulted in me tapping the rear of the driver who'd forced me wide in a bit of an audacious move around that corner, and we have in fact lost a whole heap of positions right down into 11th, and the driver that sort of forced me wide is now in last place. So we've both sort of come off quite badly there, and to be honest, I think it was a bit of a racing incident. Obviously, I probably could have backed out on the outside. However, I like to keep my position. I'm a pretty determined driver. I'm not someone that's going to let a position go easily, and from this we have actually hampered ourselves and ended up down in 11th place. Now, I was quite upset with this at the time, but I knew that I had the pace in me to try and carve through the field. Obviously, there is going to be a lot of battling and a lot of opportunities to catch up. As I mentioned, the draft was so strong here that I knew that as long as I stayed in this train of karts, then I would be able to make some moves as we get into the latter stages of the race. You can see us sat at the back of this train here, which is still the leading train. We are in 11th place, and we're using all the DRS we can. Now, we are going to skip forward quite a few laps. You can see I've made a position up in this time, and I've only skipped forward just because most of it was us just trundling around in this train. We go for a nice move up the inside here of one of the other drivers up into 9th place, so that's another position gained. But unfortunately, through the slower part of the track, once again, we have in fact lost the position back down into 10th, and unfortunately, this is where our race was pretty much put to an end. We have myself and another driver going too wide into the corner. The driver earlier who took me out in the race did it again, sending an absolute dive bomb down the inside. Now, I want you guys to let me know in the comments if you thought that was a fair move or not. Personally, I think it's difficult enough to get 2 karts wide through that first corner, and the driver just seemed to come steamrolling in, made contact with me, the driver next to me, and the driver in front of me, and it's just resulted in me being spun out into 17th. I didn't want to rejoin and sort of hamper anyone else's race, so I just thought I'd sit there. I sort of had a little bit of a reflection for 10 seconds, and we got on our way once again. But I wasn't going to let that deter me. I was very tempted to come off, I will be honest. I was quite disheartened after that, being taken out by the same driver essentially twice in one race. But we got our head down, and we completely left Jack Underwood for dead, who was back in last place. I think he had a bit of a bum car in this one. And in front of us we had JJ Hind, who was struggling with his car as well. So I believe he was about 5 to 10 seconds ahead of me after I got spun off. And I just put my head down, tried to get in as quick laps as I could. And on the last lap, as you can see, the checkered flag is being waved. We managed to actually take the position off him and get ourselves back up into 16th place. So a bit of personal pride that was at the end. I didn't realise it was the last lap, but we come across the line in 16th. And we're going to jump into some post-race thoughts from this one, because I didn't do it at the track at the time. Okay then guys, so I'm currently recording this segment of the video 5 days later compared to the race, giving myself time to reflect on the footage. I have watched it back a few times, and I am a little bit disappointed with the race. Obviously, driving for 8 hours in total to get all the way to Red Lodge and back, and having being taken out as a result of it, not just once but twice, was a bit of a kick in the nuts. But we do have some things to take from it. We were really being quite competitive at the front of the pack for the 2 or 3 laps that we were in that race, but unfortunately, as we were taken out, it just wasn't to be on the day. And I think we have had quite smooth sailing so far in the Club 73 Weekend Series. We have had some really good results. We've been really trying our hardest to keep it clean and just keep our head down and get as best results we can. But unfortunately, on this occasion, it happened to be at one of our longest journeys. We just were given the short straw. So that is just how that one ended. We did, in fact, finish the race in 15th place, as one of the drivers who was involved in the incident, but not the one that caused the incident, got a 5-second penalty. So unfortunately for them, they ended up behind me. But I guess it is a little bit of a bonus for myself, because that did put me up into 15th. However, as this is one of the larger grids of the year, and the fact that the rest of the grids throughout the rest of the year are quite small, this does mean that that round will probably be a drop round. Obviously, we get 2 drop rounds in Club 73, so the 2 worst results from the season sort of get discounted. So our first round, obviously at Anglia, we didn't do, so that one gets discounted with 0 points, and we got 7 points on that occasion at Red Lodge as well, so that will probably get discounted. Well, at least I'm hoping it will. So we will take a look at the standings for both the class we're in, which we have dropped down quite a bit, and also the overall standings, which I think we're around the same sort of position, but obviously we have lost a bit to the other guys around us, especially in our class. And I am looking forward to the next round of the Club 73 Weekend Series, which is in fact at Lydd. So it's a very long journey once again, all the way out in Dover. And the day after, we also have the next round of the SRK, sorry, not the next round, but the round after of the SRK Championship. Have the next round of the SRK Championship next week. At the time of this recording, we're heading over to Thruxton, so that will be a very good event. I'm really excited. Obviously, they don't allow head cams, so I'm going to see what I can do there once again, but it might have to be another sort of vlog style video, unfortunately. But that does in fact bring us to the end of the video, so I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I know this one is a little bit shorter and it's a little bit different. Let me know what you guys think. I might try and incorporate a little bit more external footage in the future. But if you have enjoyed it, can you please leave a like on it down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new here, as it really does help me out. As I mentioned previously in the video, I've also left a link to Alfie's channel. He also does some nice little team sport videos or karting videos as well, so feel free to subscribe to him as well. He's very close to 100 subscribers. But in the meantime, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.